So for everybody who is going to be joining us live, oh, Ishtavan, lovely to see you. So if you can just pop your name in the comments and just say hi. And if you've got any questions as we're going through, then please pop them in the comments and I'll keep checking in. And we can have a really great interactive conversation with our live guest, our very first live guest here in Helping the World Sleep Better. Hi there, Kelly. Hi there. So again, if any questions or you would just like to let us know that you're here, let's turn this volume off, otherwise that will get really, really confusing. Okay, I can see that we've got one comment already. Hi there, Kelly. Hi there. So Kelly's saying hi. Any questions or you would just like to let us know that you're here? There we go. Okay, Ishtavan, first time here. Jim is here. Lavinia is here. So we've got 6 people watching us so far. That's great. And I'll just keep an eye in to see where you are and let us know where you are from in the world as well. And that'll help Jeremy understand what time of day you're at as well. So for any hints and tips, maybe where you are, if you're hopefully not driving or operating heavy machinery, that wouldn't be great when we're trying to talk about sleep. And before we go into this, we're probably going to be here for about 20 minutes. So if you can't stay for the whole time, that's okay. It'll stay here in the group afterwards. So we've got Kelly from New Zealand, Jeremy. Ishtavan, where are you in the world right now? We've got Jim, who's also in Australia. And Lavinia, where are you from, my friend? Before we go into any more of the interview, I want to firstly say thank you, Jeremy. I reached out little less than 3 days ago and said, are there any sleep experts out there who would love to come and share some hints and tips with our newly created group? We've only been live for 7 days and already there's nearly 200 people. So in this really unprecedented time, we've got a lot of people globally who are saying, I'm really struggling with sleep right now. And I reached out into our group. Hi, Diane. I reached out into our group, Helping the World Sleep Better, and said, if I was to bring along some experts, what do you want some tips and hints on right now? And one of the things that came up was they wanted to know how to deal with anxiety and also how to slow the mind down. And Jeremy, thank you so much. You reached out to my call and you said, I can help. So Jeremy, would you mind just explaining a little bit about your background and what you're an expert specifically in sleep on, please?
Thanks for having me. G'day, everyone. So I'm a hypnotherapist and psychosomatic therapist here in Brisbane, Queensland. I help people with addictions, anxiety and sleep-related issues, and ideally doing it in a way that's natural, meaning not usually with medication, and doing it in a way where it's not having to use a whole heap of willpower to make it happen. And I guess when it comes to sleep, it's something you don't want to force, but something you just allow to happen, more of a letting go process rather than having to do a whole heap of stuff. We'd probably place that focus today on safety, so having that safety to go to sleep, but just on slowing, really slowing things down in that lead up to sleep.
That sounds beautiful. And wow, we've still got 6, but we've got Alison. Lavinia is from India, so we've got 3 different countries watching right now: New Zealand, India, the UK, 4, and Australia. And Suzanne is here as well. So Jeremy, what made you get into the subject of sleep? How did this topic reach out to you? How did you decide that this was going to be a niche that you worked in?
Yeah, I think anything around the mind and overwhelm. So I think for a time there, I was wondering, where do all these thoughts come from? Like my intention might be to meditate or go off to sleep, and then the mind's racing with all these thoughts and things from the day, stresses and that sort of thing. So I didn't really want to live with that on my mind. So I started to test and measure things by myself, and of course through my formal studying around psychosomatic therapy, discovering all those ways to basically feel good myself, and then to be able to share that with others.
That's
So really,
fantastic.
it's just wanting to feel good is kind of what I
Yeah.
was focusing on at the time. Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. And you've been doing this for a long time, haven't you?
So since 2010.
Yeah. So 10 years. Um, some more people joining us now from the UK. So we've got James, hi there, and some more people from Australia. So you're getting a pretty global audience here tonight, Jeremy.
Great, yeah. Welcome everyone.
And remember, everybody who's watching, if you have any questions for Jeremy as we're going through, then please just pop your questions in the comment box and we'll come and answer those one by one. And if you're watching this after the live, please pop in the comments #replay and tag myself and Jeremy in your questions so that we can come and answer it afterwards. So Jeremy, I sort of want to hand over to you now and say, the next 15 minutes or so are yours. So to help address slowing the mind down, the anxiety, what 2 or 3 top tips would you recommend to everybody tonight in light of what we are experiencing globally? And I'm just going to give this to you so that they can actually see you straight up.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. And so, I'll share my top 3 tips I think can be useful in today's climate. And the first thing I wanted to mention is around if someone is a sensitive sleeper, even a slight lifestyle change or a slight increase in anxiety can be very disruptive to sleep. And also, on the other hand, some lifestyle changes made in the right direction can also make even sleep that's been disrupted for months or years can turn that around, even if it's just some small changes. So initially, I'd love for everyone to hold that intention for themselves that better sleep is possible, to start with that belief that it can happen. And we'll run through a couple of systems that might allow that to happen a little bit easier. The first thing I did want to share around sleep was having a feeling of safety. I remember one of my clients, might have been all the way back in 2012, 2013, I mentioned had previously been burgled, but was having some trouble getting to sleep after that. So I checked, just as I do with everyone, how is feelings of safety to go to sleep? Windows and doors are locked. And as an act of rebellion, almost to not be afraid of being burgled again, she was leaving her doors and windows open. Almost like, I'm not scared of you, I'm going to kind of sleep however I like. However, we want to work with the subconscious mind, and if the subconscious mind has any worries for safety, you might have trouble getting to sleep or waking in the night if there is that concern around personal safety. So definitely, checking where you currently are, who you're living with, you're safe in that environment, and also with stress levels, and also with your own, personal stress levels and maybe even pain in the body. There's that feeling of safety and ease on that level as well. So if there's a little bit of work to do in life around feelings of safety in your home, community, and that sort of thing, that would always be the number one to take care of. And then beyond that, we'll see if we can reduce some of those stresses and have that really good pre-sleep routine to be able to get to sleep. And Emma, did we have any specific questions at the moment coming through from anyone? I can run through what I've got here as well.
We don't have any specific questions right now. I do know that we covered a few days ago quite a lot around shift workers and specifically trying to slow the mind down if we're in a really stressful environment and we're trying to switch off from that, as well as it being daylight outside. It was sort of like a double whammy.
Yeah, sure. We can run into a bit of that. So like a non-shift worker and a shift worker, having as much of a routine as you can when you're on that shift work run, whether that be for 7 days straight, 2 weeks, or however long that is, and keeping technology out of the bed. One of my sleep mentors, Dr. Narina, who I studied some of her work, said she would spend often multiple sessions convincing clients not to bring their phones into the bedroom, iPads, TVs, and that sort of thing. And that was back in 2010. So we're now 10 years later than that. I can imagine pretty much everyone sleeping with a phone either under the pillow or next to the bed. If we're trying to get into a sleep mode, we want to think opposite of stimulation. So if there's coffees, sugar, technology, all of that saying wake up. So initially in that lead up to sleep, particularly the last hour, something like meditating might be a great idea, because then we're almost in like a halfway sleep, preparing the body and mind, getting ready to rest. So you're getting that double whammy in the right direction. Rather than excess stimulation through technology or other things, we're getting down into the slowing down sort of phase.
Yeah.
So for those people in that lead up to sleep, if the mind and body is still quite active, and you'll probably be able to have a sense for yourself, just before sleep, am I kind of calm and yawning, or am I more up and buzzing? So if you're in that up and buzzing sort of feeling, perhaps doing a meditation can be very useful.
And what about if people, they've never meditated before? Obviously, we've got a YouTube channel, Helping the World Sleep Better, as well. And some of the things that I've found really useful is helping people realize that meditation isn't just sitting on the floor cross-legged. It's like a whole different entry to a sleep routine. What are some of the tips that you could share if people go, oh, I don't meditate, that's not for me?
Probably one of the best things I could share is what happened last night. I woke up sort of 3 o'clock in the morning thinking, oh, great, here we go. I'm a little bit of a sensitive sleeper, so I do have to manage these sort of things. And I actually had to manually remind my body to stop moving. I was like fidgeting, moving my foot, breathing was not settled. So I sat up for 20 minutes and just breathe in, and breathing in for 3, breathing out for 3, and repeating. That's often called a box breath. So that breathing for 3, box breath, hold for 3, breathe out for 3, hold at the bottom for 3, and repeat. And during that time, I did have a lot of ideas, thinking about work, family, etc. And at this time, there might be things like anxieties and fears with the global situation. And something I did last night, and I haven't actually done for a long time, is I just wrote those things down. I wrote down what I was thinking about and any ideas. And then I specifically told my mind, I can do overthinking later. There's plenty of time for that. And I said, it's now time just to meditate. So then I did about 20 breaths that were just not thinking about anything, or just returning to the breath rather than getting absorbed into thoughts. After that, I was feeling a bit more settled, kind of starting to yawn again. And I did have to then kind of, again, remind my body, stay still, stop fidgeting, just breathe, just relax, make sure I'm in a comfortable position. So sometimes even that self-talk can be really valuable as well. I remember one lady you go?
Sorry, Jeremy, you carry on.
Yeah, I remember one lady I'd worked with that kind of was almost berating herself or beating herself up for not getting off to sleep. So there was like that anxiety about anxiety. I thought, well, what a great opportunity to ask whose voice that was. So the self-talk there was, just go to sleep, Willie, what's wrong with you? Rather than, you're okay, you're safe, it's okay to go to sleep, I'm calm. They're using an affirmation process rather than a beating up the self process.
Yeah.
When I'd asked her who was that originally, she thought for a moment and realised it was actually a doctor. And the doctor just kind of yelled at her and said, why don't you just bloody go to sleep? And that kind of kept playing in her mind and actually ended up disrupting her sleep.
Yeah.
So those first 2 tips I would have would be around meditating before sleep or if you wake in the night. And then also using affirmation to kind of almost like a hypnosis, like a self-hypnosis, to remind the body to settle and to drift off to sleep, I think can be valuable.
Yeah. I'm loving this box breathing that you talk about as well. I do a lot of work with my clients just around breathing and heartbeat, So I love the fact that it's got a title, box breathing. And you say you did that about 20 times. Is there a sort of like a max number for optimum use?
No, everyone's a bit different. If you're pretty new to it, start out with whatever you're comfortable with that doesn't cause more anxiety. That's a pretty important one, I'd say, for breathing techniques and meditation. If it's a big expectation on the self to, I must meditate for 30 minutes a day, and it's quite challenging, that can kind of turn people off. So
Yeah.
starting wherever you can, even if it is just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But generally, if you can get up to that 20-minute mark, that starts to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also called rest and digest. So in that sort of state, that's where you kind of start to yawn, body starts to settle. So 20 minutes of good rest before sleep can be roughly the right amount of time.
Perfect. I'm just checking in. Although we've got quite a few watching, we've got no questions. So you're obviously giving them all the right tips and they're writing them all down, ready for sleep tonight. So if we were to just go through and summarize, because you've given us many tips, Jeremy, that's fantastic. Thank you. So we've got box breathing, which is breathing in for 3, stop for 3, out for 3, stop at 3, and doing that as many times as you want to, just trying to calm the body down. We're doing self-talk in an affirmation way. So I am safe, I'm calm, I'm ready for sleep, whatever that may be. And then we've got the don't bring in the technology into the bedroom. Leave the iPads, the mobile phones, the blue screens, leave them outside of the bedroom.
Yeah, I think that's it. And around no technology in the bedroom at all, having a really beautiful sleep space. So maybe everyone could duck into their bedroom either now or sometime in the next short while. Have a look around. Are there things like essential oils, crystals, lavender, soft colours like your whites, greys, blues, greens, calming colours? Or is there maybe some mess or some clutter, or is it dusty and things that aren't as conducive with relaxation? So not only maybe keeping some technology and stimulation out, also making the sleep space really just calm and really inviting. It can be a really nice one there too.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jeremy. Obviously, we've gone a little bit over, but I think it's been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time and joining us in this movement, helping the world sleep better. And Jeremy is in our group. So obviously, he will be looking at any questions that we have below this live. Again, just post in the comments below, #replay and your question, and tag myself and Jeremy in there, and we can come and answer any of those questions. Or it may be, okay, this is another live guest interview that we probably want to have with Jeremy around something very specific if something comes up.
That sounds great. I'll comment, or rather do a post on some of the things we chatted about, my meditation technique and a couple of other things, just to elaborate on some of those things as well.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. We've got a lot of thank yous coming up on the screen now, so thank you.
You're welcome. Hope you have a great sleep tonight.
Thank you, and you, and you. Thank you so much.